What makes the Tarot Marseille so special compared to any other deck? What does the film director Alejandro Jodorowsky have to do with it? And why did I decide to draw my own tarot deck after all this deep dive? Hi, I'm Anna Hayes. I'm a singer and songwriter, but I'm also a visual artist. And this video is an introduction to what's probably my biggest ongoing project after my music album, my own interpretation of all the 22 Tarot Major Arcana. You probably came across at least one version of these iconic cards. Innumerable artists have in fact created their own decks, drawing every figure from scratch or assigning the arcana and their meanings to their pre-existing artworks. So, do we really need another one? Well, what I noticed is the vast majority of the modern decks I came across, if not almost all of them, either reinterpret very loosely what popular culture perceives as the meaning of every card, usually a very simplified version of it, when not blatantly wrong, like romantic love for the lovers or, well, death for the death. Or they use the Rider-Waite tarot deck as a guideline. I might be the biggest hater of the latter, but let me explain why. The Rider-Waite tarot cards were only published in 1909 by William Rider and Son, a division of the Penguin Random House that took a specifically occultish direction, publishing books about spirituality or gothier novels like Bram Stoker's Dracula. This tarot deck was illustrated by the artist Pamela Colman Smith, following the instruction of the philosopher, you might say, Arthur Edward Waite. Both these characters belong to a secret society known as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. If you are passionate or just somewhat curious about esotericism, I'm sure you've heard about it before. I'm not going to take the highway through this rabbit hole right now, because it would require its own documentary. What concerns us is that, of course, Waite and Smith tweaked the meaning of every card to conform them and integrate them to the beliefs and symbols of the Golden Dawn, mixing them with their astrological principles, both Christian and pagan imagery, and so on. This particular deck became extremely popular, and as I said, to this day is often the main inspiration for the artists that want to give their personal take on the subject. The original tarot cards, though, that existed at least 4 or 5 centuries prior, were significantly different in aesthetic and meanings. They originated in Italy, then diffused as a divination method mostly in Spain and France. Of course, I'm absolutely not saying this was the first card-based divination game. The creators of tarots themselves probably took inspiration from an Egyptian system, and basically every culture has its own oracle cards and similar things. But I'm talking specifically about tarots, and that's where Alejandro Jodorowsky joins the conversation. Jodorowsky is mostly known for directing very surreal, very hermetic films that are a bit too much to bear even for myself. But he also dedicated a lot of time and energy to writing about his spiritual beliefs. I admit I never dove into the spiritual system he himself created called psychomagic, but I did study intensively his reconstruction of the original Marseille tarot deck. This year is the Italian edition of his hefty book, The Way of Tarot. I personally find tarot cards an incredibly, uncannily precise tool when read following the instructions and explanations gathered here. Either you genuinely believe in divination, or you think it's just a form of self-psychoanalysis. I'm not even sure where I stand. All I know is, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. If it works, I don't care how. The fact is that reading tarot in this way requires you to look at very specific images. Every detail counts in a reading. The colors, the hidden shapes, the stains around the names, the direction a character looks in. Don't get me wrong, I adore the art of many modern decks to the point I collect them. I can even give you a tour of my collection in another video if you want me to. But the way I came to learn how to effectively give tarot readings doesn't work perfectly with any of them except the original Marseille. And this is ultimately why I decided to create my own deck based on that. The huge challenge here is to translate the arcana in my style and aesthetic while staying as faithful as possible to every single detail described in Jodorowsky's reconstruction, to create an harmonious and personal color palette that yet includes in different shades all the colors that are used in the original cards, to maintain a sort of visual connection between those cards that should be numerologically connected, and so on. In the next months, I plan on publishing a video for every card I manage to complete, explaining the symbols and meanings behind it and how to read it. They won't be in order because I'm an agent of chaos, and since I'm historically pretty bad at making decisions, I will let fate decide for me and pick which card to create next by drawing them from the deck as I would in a reading. It seems like the most fitting method. I hope you will enjoy going on this journey with me. If you do, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It will help me finding the drive to pull this off. Thanks for watching and good night. Have very strange dreams.